video. Check our YouTube channel, and I'm trying to upload every day the most important parts of the class. This screen included, and this is going to be the first screen that you're going to see in the video with the answers from yesterday's quiz. And the next is the topic of today's class. So take advantage. Let's boost your grades. Let's end the second quarter and the 2020 with with the best grade possible, so we can start 2021 happy.
Oh, excuse me, sir.
Okay, Jacob.
I checked my portal.
Our class today, the topics of today's class. And Kali is asking here, and of course on December 31st, all of the planets will align. Yeah, that's a perfect moment to end all these bad things with all the planets aligned. If everything is aligned, it means that everything is going to be good, and everything is going to fit in the right place, hopefully. Okay, let's work. We have a lot of work, and we have just a couple of weeks. This is we are about to end chapter number 3, System of Linear Equations and Inequalities. And we worked on these last days on graphing linear inequalities. On Thursday, on Friday, we worked at graphing linear inequalities. And yesterday, we were graphing linear inequalities, but with a twist, because we added the or and the and. Remember yesterday, the union and intersection. And this is called compound inequalities. When you have two inequalities and you compound them, you combine them using or and. The procedure is this one, the step by step. Good comment, Evil. The procedure is this one. Quick review here of the procedure, because you have to remember. Step number 1, solve for y, if possible. Step 2, graph the related equation. And step number 3, shade above the line or below the line, depending on the inequality. If it's greater than, you shade above. If it's less than, you shade below. That is the procedure that you have to remember. Another thing that you have to remember from yesterday is the compound inequality, is the union and intersection. This is another kind of a funny slide, but just to help us remember. And the union is something that's as easy to understand, right? Union is you put together everything. You add everything together, and if you have characters that are, we have one set, the characters are fast, another set, the characters are clever. If you're talking about the union of fast united with clever, you're going to have all the characters together. But if we're talking about intersection, and intersection is the tricky one. Intersection of all the fast character with the intersection intersected with the clever characters, we're going to have the characters that are fast and clever, both fast and clever. In our example here, the Sonic guy, this is the Sonic character, is the intersection with fast and clever, because he is both, he is fast and clever. This is to remember, to help you remember this. The intersection is the tricky one. The union, I think, is kind of easy to understand, easy to remember, but the intersection sometimes is tricky. Okay, and another thing that I have to say, it's very good to use the graphing calculator. It's very helpful, very useful, and handy. But you need to know at least the simple inequalities. You need to know how to solve by hand. And that's what you're going to solve here. That's what the examples that I will work here with you. Okay, solving by hand a few inequalities. And we have here some simple ones. Graph the solution set of the compound inequality 3y less or equal than 6 or y less than x, y minus x less or equal than 0. Okay. The first inequality, this let's call inequality number 1, and that other one inequality number 2. And let's work to graph and find out the compound inequality. What kind of compound inequality, what kind of compound we are working on here? OR. And OR is union or intersection. Do you remember OR, union or intersection? Is OR union or is intersection? Do you remember? Sonic can be pretty dumb sometimes. Yes. It's just a silly example. Look at that. Or is union, right? Thank you, Jacob. Or is going to be union. So we're going to work here union. Union of these two inequalities. Let me split the screen in two. The first one is 3y greater, less or equal than 6. We have to solve for y, so divide both sides by 3. Y less or equal than 6 divided by 3 is 2. This is the inequality that we're working on, that we're going to graph. But we need the related equation. The related equation is y equals to 2. This is the related equation. Now the next inequality, y minus x less or equal than 0. Solve for y. Let's move this negative x to the other side. Y is less or equal than positive x plus 0. That means y is less or equal than x. This is the other inequality that we're going to graph, and the related equation is y equals to x. Okay? And here we was asking here, on the test, do you think they will use the word or use the U symbol? They can use both, but usually when we're talking about inequalities, they're going to use the word or. It's not common to have U here connecting the inequalities. The common thing you're going to find is the word or. Thank you, Will. But just remember, or is union. The U is easy to remember. The U, you remember very easily that U means union. But or, sometimes you don't remember this. Or, what is this? And you have to memorize. This is something that you have to memorize. Or means union in math. Okay, let's graph this. First one that I have to graph, y equals 2. Do you think this is going to be a vertical or horizontal line? Y equals 2 is right here. And it's pretty simple to remember. If we have here y equals 2, right? The first thing you find y equals 2 here. If you draw a vertical line, this is going to be equals to the y-axis. So it's not going to be a vertical line. When you're talking about y equals 2, it's going to be a horizontal line, because you don't want to have a line right on top of the y-axis here, right? And for any x, for x equals 1, y equals 2. For x equals 5, y equals 2. For x equals negative 5, y equals 2. That's what means y equals 2, and that's the reason is a horizontal line, because always, no matter what, y is always going to be equals to 2. Next line that we will graph, y equals to x, and this is a good one. This is a line that you have to remember. If x equals 1, y equals 1. If x equals 2, y equals 2. If x equals 3, y equals 3. X equals 4, y equals 4. That means this line, y equals x, is pretty much this one. That cross, that splits the rectangular coordinate system in 2, but with this slope, with this 45-degree line, right? And it goes all the way down as well, like this. And this is y equals x. The other one is y equals 2. The last step is going to be less or equal than 2. If it's less than, we will shade below the line. Less than, we shade below the line, right? So the inequality is less than. We will shade everything here below the line. Shade everything below the line. The other one is y less than as well, y less than x. If it's less than, shade everything below the line. Shade everything below the line. If less than, check the procedure, shade everything below the line. And that's it. This is our graph. Remember, what you're doing here is intersection or is union. What we're trying to find is union. We're working on union, so this is going to be union. Everything that's red, that's blue, and that's red and blue, it belongs to the solution. So the whole area that have any color is the solution for our component inequality. Okay? Any questions? Let's compare with the right answer from the book. Check here. This is the right answer from the book. Much nicer, right? Much cleaner and neat and pretty. And when I do by hand, it looks a bit ugly and messy. But I think it makes the point here. You can find the right answer, right? If you work by hand, is not as neat, not as nice, but you can find the right answer. And that's the point. You need to know how to work by hand, because sometimes you're not going to have the graphing calculator. Yeah, that's right. But the fact is, if you are a professional and you're going to do something like that, you're going to use a computer, right? If you're an engineer, let's say, an engineer, you're calculating something that you need to do, something like that, or I don't know, any kind of profession. You're going to use a computer, you're going to do a nice job, a neat job. But we have the exams, we have the FSAs, we have the SATs, and sometimes they say you're not allowed to use a graphing calculator, and that's it. You have to calculate by hand, and you have then find the answer. This is the objective. Find the answer. Don't do a nice job, a pretty job. Just find the answer. Okay, describe the region. Another example. This is a very quick and easy one. Describe the region of the plane defined by the system of inequalities. The first one, very quick, this one, right? X less or equal than 0. Find the related equation, x equals to 0. X equals to 0 is here, and it's going to be a vertical line. Remember this? This is a special case. When x equals to something, some number, it's going to be a vertical line. Shade the area that's less or equal than 0. -5 is less than 0, -3 is less than 0. That means all the area that's the left-hand side of this line is going to be less or equal than 0. Yeah, all this left-hand side is less or equal than 0. Next one, let's use red. Y greater or equal than 0. Y greater or equal than 0. The related equation is this one. Y equals 0. So draw the related equation. Y equals 0 is right here. And it's going to be horizontal line. Y equals 0 is horizontal line. Y is greater than. That means shade everything above the line. Above the line. Above the line. Everything above the line is this thing. Everything above the line. Even this side here as well. Everything above the line. And now check what kind of a compound is this. What are you doing here? You're working intersection or you're working union. And this is intersection. Right? This is intersection. That means the solution for this compound inequality is the area that have blue and red. The area that have blue and red is the solution for the compound inequality. This area here have only red. We don't want, we don't need, only red. This area here have only blue. We don't want, we need red and blue. But this area have both red and blue. And this is the intersection. This is the answer for our compound inequality. Again, let's compare with the neat and nice and beautiful picture from the book. Here. This is the picture from the book. You can compare, and yes, not as nice, not as beautiful, not as neat, but you can answer the question if you have this thing here by hand, this ugly thing. And the point here is, let's answer the question. Let's work on the tests, on the SATs, on the PSATs, on the PERT tests, on the FSAs. Let's work and let's find the right answer if you don't have a graphing calculator. Okay, any questions? Tell me if you have any questions, if you have any comments, any complaints, anything at all that is not clear. For this bell work, the answer, if you follow the pattern, is going to be 31 plus 8, 39. 39 is the right answer for the bell work today. Now let's move, let's work on the quiz. Okay, I think we are ready. We can work on the quiz now. And the quiz is very similar from yesterday's quiz. Let me show you here. Match the compound inequality with the correct graph. Select the right choice of area, and you have to answer two questions. One is the right number of graph, and the second question is the area. If it's going to be the all blue area, if it's an union, only the dark blue area if it's an intersection, and we're not going to have the white option, the white area. Okay, hello Cynthia. And let me show, I want to show you, this is the same thing we've done yesterday, okay? I want to show you right now how to solve at least one of these questions here by hand. I'm gonna draw by hand. Let me show letter B, okay? Letter B is an easy one. I want to show you how to solve by hand. Check this out. And again, when we solve it by hand, it's not as nice, as neat, as beautiful, but we have to know how to work this out by hand. Sometimes we don't have an option, we don't have the graphing calculator, and we need to know. Let me use this. Okay, I'm gonna solve this, letter B. Letter B. Solving by hand, letter B. We have one inequality, y greater or equal than x. The other inequality is y is less or equal to negative x. The first thing you have to do is to find the related equation. Related equation here is y equals x, right? And y equals x, we have seen before, is this line right here that crosses the rectangular coordinate system in an angle of 45 degrees from the top to the bottom, divide in 2. Okay, this is y equals x. And the other one, close this, cancel. The other one is going to be y equals, the other related equation, y equals negative x. And y equals negative x, if you have negative 1, you're going to have 1. If you have negative 2, you're going to have 2. If you have negative 3, you're going to have 3. It's pretty much negative 4 is 4. And this is going to be y equals negative x, this one. Right? This is the line that represents y equals negative x. The last step, shade. For the first one, y is greater than, so we're going to shade above the line. This is the line, let's shade above the line. Shade above the line. Because y is greater than, if you check the procedure, you're going to remember that when y is greater than something, you shade the area above the line. The next one, y is less than negative x. That means you're going to shade below the line. So shade below the line. The next one. Shade below the line. Shade below the line. Okay. Okay. Now we are ready to compare and find out what's the right answer. Again, check this out. It's not as nice if you're working with the graphing calculator. You're gonna find a very nice and neat graph, but we still can find the right answer. Compare this thing here with the options, and those are the options. And check, I think the number 10 is the one that looks like the right answer. Check this out. The dark blue area is the one that is cross shaded here, is the one that belongs to both inequalities, and is going to be a bit darker on our graph that we did by hand. This is the dark blue. The light blue are the other ones, here on the top, on the bottom, and it looks pretty much the same, right? That means letter B, the answer for letter B is number 10. Letter B, number 10, and this one is OR, check here, letter B is OR, right? If it's OR, is all blue, all the blue areas, all the shaded areas are the solution for this compound inequality. That's it. That's how we work by hand. Now, try to work by yourselves. I'm gonna check your attendance.